Big drive here for Nick, Jim.
Birdied this once in 4 tries and on opening day. 527 yards. If he has a really big drive in his bag, this is the time.
You can see how he's a pronounced inside waggle there.
Oh, that's a big one right down the middle. Real big. It's going to carry over the hill and be well down the fairway.
Exactly what Faldo needed at this point. So he will have the chance of getting home in 2, right, Jerry?
No question about it.
Okay, so Strange with the 3-stroke lead is in the rough. The man trying to come from behind is straight down the middle. That is never a bad place to be. We'll return with more U.S. Open playoff action after this message and a word from your local station. The playoff for the U.S. Open Golf Championship, Curtis Strange here with a 3-stroke lead over Nick Faldo of England. However, on this par 5 14th hole, Strange is in the rough, decent lie, but in the rough, and cannot get home in 2, it appears. Faldo is right down the middle of the fairway with an excellent chance to get home in 2 and perhaps pick up some ground.
I am very surprised to see Curtis Strange right here with a wood. He's got a fairway metal club. I would think that he would lay the ball up, but he has a very dangerous shot to play with this club. But he's I guess he thinks if he can put it in the right-hand bunker, it won't be too bad. But at the angle, he's got a very tough shot to try and put it on the green.
I thought when I saw him move the people back on the left, Bob, he was just trying to get them back so he could see the pin.
After looking at his lie, David, I thought he was going to take a 7 or 8 iron and lay it up to the bottom of the hill where he was yesterday. The fairway's very fast. There's a lot of wind behind. Now, he can reach the green. There's no problem with that. He's about 240 yards, and he can get there. But being 3 shots ahead, this is a shot that I am surprised at.
It's Bob Rosberg on the fairway.
Boy, it's a good-looking shot. If it misses that bunker, well, it's going to roll up the hill, and if it catches a rough, it'll be all right.
It's a beautiful shot. Just short of the green.
It stays there. Remember yesterday he hit a pretty good shot with an iron up there, got on the green, and then back down to about 30 yards short.
David, there's a little ledge that his ball's sitting on, and it's the only place his ball could have possibly stopped it, and if it hadn't stopped there, it would have gone 30, 40 more feet down the hill.
Well, he got away with it.
Nick Faldo from 210 yards. Very tough pin placement to get close today. Wind is coming out of the left and behind, and the pin is only 8 yards from the left-hand edge. I would think this is a 4-iron.
And he has to start maybe a little gamble here, Bob. He may try to bite out a little over that bunker, don't you think?
Oh, he has to, David, because Curtis has got an easy-looking chip. I mean, he's chipping right up the hill, and he's got to try and make 3.
It's coming in nice and high and cutting in towards the flag. It's a good-looking shot. Good hole. Well, safely on the green.
Yeah. On the back edge.
And it should come
back, Jim.
Yep. Still moving. That will be about it. Yes.
But that gives you some idea of how fast his putt is going to be down that hill. That's the problem with that hole. It's a par 5. A lot of players have been able to reach. Have a little brunch there.
Yes.
Little apple.
Well, it's tea time.
Tea time. All right. And speaking of tea time, this is at the 14th tee.
Ooh.
Now, Curtis Strange and Nick are about the same when you see their setup. Now, Curtis's hands may be a little bit higher, but their knees are the same. Nick's a little taller. When they get back, you notice they both keep their left heel pretty much on the ground. They both get to the top, backs to the target. Now, if you remember, Curtis hit his ball to the left here. Nick hit the ball right down the center of the fairway. Now, when we get back down to impact, I believe you'll see Curtis's left hip will be much more out of the way, his right heel higher than Nick's left heel. So Nick is able to keep the club on land a little longer while Curtis is spinning out of the way, which produces in a good player a pull or a hook. And Nick, on the other hand, can stay on land longer and hit it right down the fairway.
Okay. You were talking about Curtis Strange's twin brother, Alan. Well, there he is. There he is.
The stockbroker in Richmond, Virginia. Not quite as gray as Curtis there. The 6-footers will put a little more gray in your hair.
Identical twin brother.
At Market,
he was a good, pretty good
hair too.
Pretty good player, though, isn't he?
Oh yes, he played at East Tennessee State, I believe, on the golf team,
and a little bit on the tour.
Yes, or East Tennessee, I should say.
You know who came by to say hello a few minutes ago? It was Jack Corain, who was the captain of the U.S. Olympic hockey team back in 1960, the first time they beat the Soviet Union. He lives in the house right next door to Francis Ouimet's house. Says he remembers him. He hit that up there, remember, with a metal club, and Dave talked to him about that subject a little bit earlier.
Well, hopefully everybody didn't think it's just the metal clubs. There's a little bit of talent in this body. I changed 4 or 5 years ago, and I just like them. I feel like for a long time there, my fairway wood game was not as good as my iron game and my driving game, and for whatever reason, so I switched to the metal wood, 3-wood, and I hit it better. Then I went to the driver, and I didn't like it for a while, but I went to it and said I'm going to try it, and I ended up playing well with it very shortly after that. And then I changed to the 4-wood, metal wood. I said, well, these two things are that good, let me try a 4-wood. And that was right before the 85 Masters, because I wanted a good 4-wood there because of the par 5s. And so everything has worked out, and just because of that, I guess because of maybe the exposure, whatever, everybody sees the metal woods in my hand all the time, but I really like them, and I think they're very good for me.
Different strokes, as they say, different folks. Looking this one over very carefully. This will be, remember, his 3rd shot on the par 5 hole. His opponent is on the putting surface in 2.
I think the metal club is here to stay now. I remember first in 1949, there was an aluminum club that it looked like might make a little dent in the market, but it didn't. But now with a lot of players playing at least one of these.
Get in the hole.
Yeah, he'll have that for a birdie attempt, certainly makeable.
One thing about when they cut the fairways as low as they do now with the new conditions, they can cut them with the triplexes. I think it makes that particular kind of shot a little harder because the ball is sitting a little tighter. Mm-hmm. If it was a little fluffier, you may be able to play it a little softer as we look at the statistics through 13 holes or through.
Not much to choose between them. But Strange with a 3-stroke lead.
But coming into the day, they had 14 birdies each.
Look at the people lined up. You could see them a moment ago at the top of your screen, lined up way down the fairway and all around the green. They're already gathered. The grandstands at 18 are full, waiting for them. There are people all over the golf course.
At 15, yeah, they're waiting.
Here's 18, and on 15, they're already lined up, waiting for them to come in. Now, look, this is 15. It has to be the largest crowd for a playoff that we've ever seen, I think, Dave.
It's the largest I've ever seen, Jim. This is a sports town, as you say. They are very proud of their Boston.
This difficult putt. Long, difficult putt for an eagle.
And he could get a 2-stroke swing here if he should make this. It'll make Curtis's putt a lot more difficult.
Still going. So each will have a birdie attempt now. Physical strain and emotional and mental strain has to be getting to them a little bit now. Remember, this is the 5th round of golf in 5 days, everyone under the pressure of playing in the United States Open.
You're going to ask one of the officials to come over. Maybe something is wrong with the edge of the cup.
Jerry, do you have any idea?
I don't, Jim. I'm standing right here by the green. I'll walk up a little closer and see if I can hear what's going on.
Okay. Bill Battle, president of the USGA.
He just fixed the lip there a little bit. That happens sometimes when the caddy may pull the pin out without taking care. And I think Frank Hannigan has an idea of what that was all about. Francis?
The edge of the cup evidently was a little bit out of round, and the rules of golf say that the player isn't allowed to touch the inside of the hole. He has to call a member of the committee if there's any repair work to be done on the edge of the hole, and that's what happened. He called over the referee, Bill Battle, who did a little pressure job with the thumb and forefinger, and presumably the cup is now back to round.
Okay.
There was also a piece of trash in the hole. That's what he removed. He removed a stick out of the hole.
Oh, he did?
I don't think Curtis wanted to put his hand down into the hole and remove the trash.
Well, somebody was being neat to keep America clean.
Curtis was being cautious, too. You don't want to take some kind of an obscure penalty at this point.
That's right. That's what happened to Lloyd Mangrum in the playoff at Marion with Hogan when he picked the ball up and blew the fly off of it, or the bug, and cost him 2 strokes.
Opportunity does in fact knock for Nick Faldo. A par for Curtis Strange. If Faldo makes this, the lead will shrink to 2. Still has a tough road ahead of him. He's going to get back with Curtis. But he has to make this.
Nick can't.
He's going to stay alive.
Have to. Well, strange things can happen between here and the clubhouse, obviously. You just see Curtis working on his stroke there, but just can't let opportunities like this go by. You're getting late in the game. You're only going to have 4 holes left after this hole, and you don't want to be 3 strokes down. It's be just to put him 2 back.
Well, the lead shrinks to 2 strokes with 4 holes to play. And there's a little more hope in England as the family of Nick Faldo watch. His little daughter Natalie at 2 probably doesn't know too much of what's going on, except she sees Daddy's picture. They're in the town of Welwyn, Garden City, Herefordshire.
Jim, the 15th hole is a 434-yard par 4. The road that you see, which is the entryway to the club, is about 280 yards off the tee. This is a nice par 4. The bunker there that you see in front of the green shouldn't come into play, and you've got a nice opening there. Bunkers each side of the green short, kind of reminiscent of a wing foot type hole. The pin today on 15 is 45 feet back, 15 feet from the right side. See it there. In case you wonder about what they do in a playoff, they do in fact change the cups from the 4th round to the playoff round, but today they left them generally in the same area they were on Sunday's round, with the exception of the 5th hole, which was the biggest change.
The 11th hardest hole through the 4 rounds of the tournament was the 15th. And you will get another good look at this sizable gallery. We're down to this 15 and a par 3 at 16, and the always evil 17th par 4 and a par 4 18th. Raised tee here, Nick Faldo.
This is where he made his only birdie yesterday.
I would think he'll need at least 1 and possibly 2 birdies coming home, wouldn't you say, David?
I agree with that, Jack.
If he is to hold his own future.
Well, it's down the right side, and it's going to catch the right-hand rough. And that is not the place to be on this hole.
Almost up where Curtis hit his yesterday afternoon, up by the road, and got a ruling.
Well, the flag is on the right-hand side, and that is not where you want to be here on this tee shot.